But looking back, I'm certain now that I lost millions and millions of dollars because I was too afraid to grow. The rich exchange their time for money. So the true wealthy people, they own their time.
We have Tina Caul here for our session for today. Welcome, Tina. Tina is, we work together within the organization EXP, but basically she's been a mentor of mine and to Emily and to everyone that has been on the call. She's been a regular guest speaker for us, and her team is always blowing it out of the water. When the market's like dipping, she's always doing better. It seems like we're talking hundreds of millions in volumes in a year. And today, she's going to unload on us some information about leverage, how to get it, how to implement it. I think if there's anyone that obviously can speak to leverage, I think there's no better person than Tina. So Tina, welcome.
Thank you, friend. I appreciate it. One thing, Dean, for housekeeping, I am going to share my screen. So
yep, I just you should be able to do it now.
Okay, cool. Yep. So I'm going to have some slides. So I just want to hear from everybody in the chat box. Just open up the chat box. Number one, I want to hear how many streams of income do you guys have if you could not sell real estate? That's the first thing I want to see is how many streams of income, because I'm a Mike Ferry agent through and through. I've been in the business for 24 years and Mike Ferry was my mentor. Mike taught me how to go out and hunt and build my business. And so what Mike forgot to teach me though was if something happened to me, if I got sick or I couldn't go out and pick up the phone and smile, dial and make a pile, how do I survive and how do I survive my family? So that was one thing that I realized when I was doing this smile, dial, make a pile is, my God, if I die or something happens to me, I really, other than a life insurance policy, I really, can't get hurt. And so that's a huge liability. And so what I realized with Mike, and we would get in fights about it, is that he had a lot of leverage. Mike taught himself to build a business. He duplicated himself. He has hundreds of coaches that teach thousands of people, and that is leverage. And so I went off and said, I'm going to start a team because I need to have leverage just in case. And I knew that I had enough business at the time, which was 14 years into the business, to go ahead and start a team because I had enough opportunities for people and I could teach them something. So building a team is not for everyone. It's actually not a great idea for most because you are opening a company. But what I want to teach today is if you are sitting in a seat where you are a Mike Ferry style agent, you go out, you smile, dial, make a pile, you know how to hunt and you know how to go out and get a listing. The question we should be asking ourselves is what's next? So what is next on the path for us? What is next on the road to, making a living that's not just what we do every day, which is, again, picking up the phone and making calls. So we're going to go through leadership and leverage. Let me make sure that you guys can see this. Can you guys see this, Dean?
Yeah, I can.
So basically, again, we'll start with, come on, there we go. I don't want to bore everybody with my story, but it's been a long time, 23 years in the business. My first 6 years, I sold 25 to 30 homes. I was the average realtor. I was actually highly successful in my brokerage, but then a market crashed. And by 2007, I pretty much lost my $150,000 income and didn't know what to do. I was sitting on my hands going, okay, now what? Because I built my business off sphere and relationships. And so I met Mike in 2008. And by 2009, with my coach, Kathy Anderson, I said, we're out of here. We're going to go find some sunshine. I know how to make calls now. And we left and we moved to North Carolina in 2009. From 2009 to about 2014, in that 4 to 5 year period, I went from selling 0 homes to 130 homes a year. I was one of the successful Mike Ferry agents. I was selling 10 units a month. And it was fun in the beginning. It's like you get that high of like going out on appointment, getting better at your presentation. I studied the presentation to a T. I memorized it. I delivered it. I worked on closing and getting paperwork signed right there at the table. And I did all the things that I was taught. And I went from earning 0 and having a net worth of literally $20,000 when we moved to North Carolina. Within 4 years, we had a net worth of about maybe $1 million because we were saving a couple $100,000 every year. We bought our house. So by year 5, I suffered severe burnout. I was done. I was like, this is crazy. I can't go to a store without picking up my phone. I can't be present with my husband or my child. I'm always on my phone. Say yes in the chat box if that's sometimes how you feel, that you're like the customer service department for all of your listings and your buyers. It's like you are there to manage. You're the HR department, you're the customer service department, you're the inspections department, you're the closing department. Even if you have an assistant, they want to speak to you. So I felt literally locked in chains, and it wasn't fun. And I said, you know what, something has to change. And so when I look at all of the jobs I was doing in the past, which a lot of you are doing all the jobs, I was the listing coordinator, buying coordinator, field worker, ISA, because we are glorified ISAs in this role. I was doing inspections, and could I do it all? Sure. I had an assistant. I was selling 130 homes a year. Of course I could do it all. But looking back, I'm certain now that I lost millions and millions of dollars because I was too afraid to grow. I was too afraid to take the next step. And for me, time is money. The rich exchange their time for money. So many of you on this call, and I know you, are rich when it comes to, can I earn a high income? Yeah, that feels like you're rich. I can earn a high income like a doctor, a surgeon. They use their hands, they exchange their time for money, but they can't not go into work. You can't not show up to do a brain surgery. Nobody else can do it but you. You can't go and be an attorney and not show up to court to represent your client. You have to be there to exchange your time for money, just like a real estate agent in the position that most of us are in. You have to be the one showing up to land the deal. But the rich, the wealthy, the true wealthy people, they own their time. They don't have to be anywhere, and money is just cha-chinging in their bank accounts in multiple different ways. And that is what I was looking for. And so my new mantra for me right now is, if it's to be, it's up to we. And when you look at this picture and you look at my team, that started from one person saying, you know what, I need to share my knowledge with all of these people. I have enough opportunity now because I'm selling 130 homes a year. I have opportunity to give buyers to some of my agents to eventually walk away from the listings and start to become an operator versus an agent, the highest earning provider on my team. So I was the top agent on my team for many years. Now I don't sell homes. I haven't sold a home in over 3 years. I help our agents go on listing appointments here and there, but that's it. So most of us get into real estate because we want to become entrepreneurs, right? We don't want to, punch a clock. We looked at the average job off Indeed in our market in Raleigh, and the average person in our market makes $65,000 to $75,000 a year. Now that's okay for some people, but not us. We're entrepreneurs. We are a person who organizes or operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. So who we are is the risk takers. We're saying, no, I bet on myself. I know I can do more, and I'm not going to be a slave to the job and punch in and punch out. And so when I was in this journey, I realized there's 3 leverage pillars in the journey, and that we're all good at. Number 1 is systems. All of you have a system for listing a house or working with a buyer. You have a system for, bringing your buyer to closing. You have a system for inspections. You have systems, so you're good at that. All of us use tech. We're using tech right now. We're on Zoom, right? We're all of us don't have to drive to New Jersey and have me fly there so we can all chat with each other. We're doing it on Zoom. We leverage tech. So we know how to leverage systems and tech. But the third one that I find that most of our coaching clients and people I talk to, especially at EXP, these people that I get to talk to every day, they don't know how to leverage people. They don't understand how to lead and execute and manage people. And therefore, there's a huge miss to the third leverage pillar that actually gets you into more wealth, which is financial and time freedom. And so to me, because 80% of agents don't know how to leverage the most important one, they're missing the secret sauce. So what's the secret sauce? It's getting the right people on the bus at the right time, because you all here cannot do it all. You just can't. You can try, but you're going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. So when I read books and I think about, the advice that was given to me years ago, everybody always says the first major salaried hire is your assistant. Now, I don't think it's totally wrong. I know it says most people think it's an assistant. Wrong. It's fine, but a real partner, somebody who's going to bring you a return in the business, to me, is the ISA. So I want you guys to think about it. Dean, can you unmute yourself? I want to
Yeah,
talk
I'm
to
good.
the team.
Mhm.
Okay, so I got a question. How many hours in the morning are you prospecting?
Three and a half.
3.5 hours. Once you're done with prospecting, you go off and go to appointments, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Does your growth from prospecting and making appointments stop?
Yes, if I'm not on the phones, yes.
If you're not on the phone, you are no longer growing the business. So you have literally locked up the Dairy Queen and you walked away because you're not selling any more ice cream cones. You're out servicing, right?
Correct. Yep.
So that was my problem. I was in the seat for 3 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. But the minute I left that post, the ISA role, which is what we all are right now, I didn't have a growth partner. So let's be honest, we don't really have time. Like Dean doesn't have time to sit 5 days a week for 6 hours a day. Do you, Dean, prospecting on the phone?
No.
You would if you had to, right? If you had to do it, you would do it. But you really don't have the time to do it every day efficiently. Number one, you'd probably have more appointments than you knew what to do with. And number two, it's a high burnout. Like that is a really hard post. So when I think about all of you on this phone today, I'm thinking, my God, an ISA costs about $2,000 to $2,500 a month. You give them 5% override on every appointment that they make for you and close. And now you're paying this person to be a growth partner. So when Dean is away from his post and he teaches that ISA how to grow his business while he's out servicing, now the business is not stopping, right? It's growing. And so what that does is eventually Dean's going to have too many appointments to service, but he's going to go, wait a minute. I got 10 appointments this week alone, or 15 appointments. I can't do them. That's when Dean or somebody in Dean's position would say, okay, aha, it's time to bring on a partner. It's time to bring on agents because I have too many appointments in my work, in my brokerage, my team. I have too many appointments. So now I can finally start building a business that doesn't involve you as the main earner because you're not there to be the only one that's creating the appointments, creating the business. So that's where true leverage starts. So when I talk to a lot of agents that start teams, the reason that they fail is because they're part-time leaders. Because somebody in Dean's position, let's say, and I'm keep picking on him because I can, because he's a friend. If he's the number one earner on his team, which he probably is, and he's also a team leader, and he's also the ISA, and he's also the one that has to go out into the field and negotiate contracts and work with these people, how can he really pour the 60 hours a week that I can into building my businesses? He can't. And so how can I be present for all my partners 100% of the time? He can't. So if you're part-time leadership and you don't have somebody else running your team, which I hired Mackenzie now to help run my team. And then prior to, I hired Pam, who, when I was selling 100 homes a year and I started my team, I hired Pam. And I said, Pam, I got to keep the money in the bank. I got to keep selling homes, but I need you to help me run this team and teach agents and help agents and help this business grow. So I invested in my business and not just said, I'll do it all as a part-time leader. So that's why I think a lot of leaders eventually fail in building teams because they do it part-time, and we all know part-time agents rarely make it. So why would a part-time leader? So hopefully that resonates with you guys.
Tina, can I interject with a quick question though?
Yeah, please.
A lot of us might be thinking also to ourselves. I know I did for a while until I hired an ISA as well.
Yeah.
But which is that, a lot of us that I've heard on Phone Warriors and being in this group, right, is that they are working on their skills in order to create leverage. Would you consider working on your skills at a high level the way that you did as a form of leverage, or would you just go right to hiring someone without even having mastered the sales skills?
No, I think you're absolutely right. You cannot teach someone to do what we do at a high level if you haven't done it yourself. And no one's going to take you seriously. I'm sorry, but if I'm a brand new agent and all of a sudden I want to start a team and I haven't even had any success in real estate, like who's going to follow me? So, you have to have proven that you can walk the path and that you can teach someone. Now, if it were me and I was learning, because, I was in the trenches with my little headset on, listening to my appointments, listening to my role plays, trying to get better, trying to memorize them first. Once I learned all of that, that's when it's time to say, hey, Judy, I'm hiring you. Sit right next to me. You're going to do your job entails you studying scripts and listening to me on the phones and adopting my tonality and adopting all the things I'm doing. So Judy, when I leave this post in 2 hours, you're going to keep prospecting for 4 hours. And by the time I come back, you'll probably have 2 more appointments. And if you think about the average commission check, which mine was $7,000 at the time, if I'm making $7,000, $6,500, $7,000, and that person gets me 1 appointment and I land that appointment and get it, that person just paid for their salary for 2 to 3 months. So it's worth it. If they can get you 1 appointment that you land a month, which they're going to get you more, but if they can get you 1, that pays for it. So I think that's a good call out. So looking at us now, again, today, we went from in 2019, when we left Keller Williams, we joined EXP, we were 7 agents and I was the top producing agent on our team. Emily was actually with us when we moved over. So it was myself, Emily, and 5 other agents. And we were really high producing for the 6 of us, 7 of us. But today, we're 62 agents strong. We have systems. We have like Call Group University. We're going to close 1,000 homes this year. Emily's going to probably make $600,000-$700,000, even being a partner on my team. And she's fully leveraged. Emily doesn't have all the headaches and nuances that I did. And she'll probably make exactly what I made as a solo agent, but running my own show. And I think that's true leverage. Not only though, did I build that leverage in my life in the call group, but we created another piece of leverage. And so what I'm going to share with you guys on the next slides, I wasn't going to show it, but I thought, let me just show it because I think for this group, it's a big thinking group. I know with you guys being part of Mike Ferry and all the world that we're around, we talk about money. Money's not taboo. It's to help you guys grow and say, gosh, this could happen for me. So for me, I want to go over the few leverage pieces that we have. I also built a leveraged personal team through EXP for me. And that was 1,200 agents now. So there's 2 groups. There's my personal team, 62 agents that'll sell 1,000 homes. And then there's our other network. Now, I feel like we all work really hard for our money. I mean, we work hard for our money, but the key right now is you guys think about how do I make a lot of money. That's amazing. Hopefully I'm investing it. But the key is like, how do I buy back my time? So then I can put the proper leadership in place, the proper levers in place, so I can start building other people's careers. I can start, diversifying my career. So I never have to be stuck with one income, because I've had friends that have gotten sick in real estate and couldn't work. They ended up in the hospital, had some autoimmune disease. Well, insurance is not going to just pay you to live your life unless you die and get an insurance policy. So those people struggled. They didn't have that much. And so when you think about millionaires, most millionaires and multi-deca millionaires and billionaires have 7 or more vehicles of income at a minimum. They know their net worth and they have a plan to grow it. So I want you guys to start thinking about, how do you leverage this? How do you leverage your mind? How do you monetize it? How do you make more money? Is it coaching? Is it, building other types of teams? Where can you leverage? Because for me, I knew that I needed to buy real estate, and I did. But if I only had selling homes or my team and real estate, I have 11 real estate properties right now. I only make $4,000 clear after all expenses on all those real estate properties, all 11. So if I only had to live on those 11 today, I'm living a $4,000 life every month. And I don't know about you guys, but that's not a big life. I mean, that's just scraping by in today's world. And even though I have 11 properties that are worth probably, $3 million, let's say on paper, they don't cash flow that well because they've got mortgages. Now, those 11 properties though, are my long-term plan when I'm 65 and my husband and I are like, screw it. We don't want call group anymore. It's a headache. We don't want to do this, downline thing. We don't want any of this. Those properties are going to be paid for. They might bring us $25,000 to $30,000 a month cash flow. And when we're 65, 70 years old, 25, 30 grand a month, I could live off that, but I'm going to be old and I'm probably going to be fatter and I'm probably, going to be slower. And so I'm not going to want to do the things I want to do in my 40s. I just turned 45. So right now is the time to enjoy and spend and build. And so I had to put this disclaimer on there for legal purposes, but I'm going to show you guys just a breakdown of the different streams of income. So I went from very small thinking to bigger thinking with Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry changed my life because he showed me that I could be in control of my day-to-day income and I didn't have to have a ceiling on it. And then I went one step further. So I always say there were 3 shifts in my life, mega shifts. Number 1, when I met my husband at 16, my future partner, changed my life. Number 2, when I became a mom, Michael changed my life. And number 3 was when I met Mike Ferry. Those were my 3 massive shifts. My 4th one was when I joined this company because it allowed me multiple streams of income a couple different ways. So I went from 1 stream to now 10 streams in 3.5 years. And I want to show you guys kind of how that looks to encourage you to know that 5 years ago, we had $1 million net worth, and it's way more than that now. So our team right now, cash flows, when it was just me selling 130 homes a year, making $1 million a year, but then I had $300,000 of expenses, I net about $700,000 a year. Well, today with 60 agents, last year, we had a net of 1.9 million. That's a lot better than 700,000. So the team, because we are a numbers-based team now, cash flows. So I make less, I make $2,000, $2,200 per transaction versus 7, but I have more people and they're selling homes and I'm changing their lives. So therefore we make more. So the team does bring great cash flow if you build it correctly. Stocks and 401k. If you guys are not participating in that, again, I'm not a stockbroker, but 15 years ago, I went to my little stockbroker that I met through Dave Ramsey, and we just started socking away, $19,500 each year for the last 12 years, my husband and I. And that has turned into over $800,000. We're growing at 7 to 8%. You set it and forget it. So if you guys aren't participating in your IRAs and your SEP accounts, you got to sock that money away now when you don't need as much of it, and you're going to forget about it and it's going to grow. Stocks gifted from my firm. So I work at a firm where if I sell a certain amount of homes, 27 homes a year, my 16,000 comes back. That's turned into 4 years, another $700,000 for just doing my job. That's an extra income stream. And I cashed that out and bought 2 rental properties. Invest in what you sell. So we've purchased, like we said, now we're on our 12th rental in the last 5 years. That's $4 million in rental assets. That's a long-term hold plan. So right now it's about $4,000 a month with passive income. And that's with $800,000 of down payments to buy all those assets. So I spent $800K to get $4,000 a month. Think about it. Sounds insane, but that's a long-term hold plan. And we just purchased our first home on Data Island. I put that on there because we were sharing these slides down there. Airbnb investments, that one of the best investments I ever made. If you guys have rental properties and you don't think about flipping a couple of these to Airbnb, that's a mistake. My payment's $1,300 on one little house, and we're averaging a cash flow of $3,700 a month. There is no way I'd be able to cash flow this thing for $3,700 a month on a long-term renter, but I can with Airbnb. So that was a great investment. Revenue share. This is only for people that want to be a coach, that love to share like I do. I love coaching. If you're like, my heart is like, exploding for coaching, then this model is for you. And so my company pays me about $58,000, $60,000 a month with a 6% growth to coach people at EXP. Again, not for everybody, results are different, but if you decide you want to do that, that is huge, huge return, because I couldn't afford to make $58,000 a month anywhere else on any investment. Syndications, group investments. I want you guys to start thinking about investing money in syndication deals where you don't have to be on the day-to-day, boots on the ground, fixing HVACs. You're going to go into a group investment funds. Maybe you raise $30 million, you put $100K in. And for us now, we invested $250. We'll receive $500,000 back by 2026, 15 to 20% returns on those 4 syndications that we're in. EXP referral network. Doesn't matter what company you're with, use your company to leverage referrals. I know, Joe, on this call, you're amazing at getting referrals. Maybe you could do a talk one day on getting referrals from agents. He's fantastic at it. So definitely leverage the referral network just by making new relationships. Affiliate agreements. This one was huge. So a lot of you are on Mojo Dialer, you're on Vulcan 7, you're on all of these tools that you use. I created a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel makes me about $20,000 a month. And anytime I say the word Vulcan 7 or Mojo Dialer and I have a link, those companies pay me now. So I am like a billboard for those companies. So I want you guys to start thinking about multiple streams of income. How could you leverage your time and money and your likeness? And what I learned in the last 4 to 5 years of marketing is make sure people know who you are. Put yourself on social media, as uncomfortable as it is, because trust me, it is until you get used to it. When people know your name and they know what you're about, they will pay you in multiple different ways. Title company, we opened a title company because we have enough deals now. That's another $15,000 a month profit that we use to put back into our EXP team, actually, to have parties and things for them. So we figured out a way to make more money. So right now, those 11 streams, I'm just constantly thinking of how many more. So for me, what's next? I can do, if I wanted to, which I don't really, but I can do 10 coaching clients at $2,000 per month. That's another $20,000 a month in passive income, or another $240,000 a year. Or do a team building course. I write a course. I do it once. I sell it for $3,500 to $4,000 per person. That's where we start to think about multiple different ways to earn. So that's my presentation. I want to open it up for questions, for thoughts, but I hope that number one, you guys are inspired to think beyond just being a phone caller. That is a great job, but it's only as good as the time that we have in our health. And what if something happens to our health? Oopsie, now the highest income earner at our team or at our brokerage unfortunately can't make money. And so that used to keep me up at night, and now no longer, because I don't have to sell homes. I get to. I don't have to work. I get to. So it's what I got, buddy.
Nice. Well, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Jeff Anderson did say, so many agents here neglect investing in what they sell. I think that's so true. That's exactly what you talked about.
So
Adolfo had a question about, what are your thoughts on ISAs from another country?
I tried ISAs from another country, Adolfo, and they were okay, but they weren't great, because if you don't have somebody local that knows your market and they like hack a word, or, the consumer just can sense it. And so they have to be really good with their enunciation and their English, and then, really smart and quick on their feet. They can work, but I much prefer somebody local. An ex-real estate agent would be amazing, because there's a lot of real estate agents that don't want to be in the hustle and bustle anymore, but they're high I personalities and they love to talk to people. So if you can find an ISA there, or the best thing I ever, we thought of was, when you are looking for a car and you go onto the car sites like GM, Chevy, whatever you're looking for, and you put in one of the requests, some ISA is going to call you back. If you go to multiple dealerships putting in requests for somebody to call you, I would not answer the phone and see who is going to aggressively follow up with me and who is really good at getting my business. And that's the person I would offer a job to, because cars are way less expensive than houses. And that ISA is driven by money, most likely. And so if I can give them 5% of a $500,000 deal, or 5% of a $80,000 truck, which one's going to be better? So I would definitely look for like people in those fields, telemarketers. Those people are going to be the ones that I'm hunting down to do this job that a lot of us shouldn't be in these seats. Because an ISA it's like, have you ever heard the term, Dean, when you're like, don't do $12 an hour, don't do $20 an hour work? That's exactly what a lot of us are doing, and we're leaving millions of dollars on the table.
Yeah, and I would also argue that I think, like I was talking to Danny Madillo about this before, which is basically that I think we get distracted so much. So really what you're saying is to leverage other ISAs in order to fill that distracted time that you may have, because we're all human. It's all natural. That's another opportunity. And Chris Nugent asked about, can you just repeat how much you pay, or what the structure is that you're paying the ISAs, or what you recommend?
Yeah, so ISAs get paid a little bit differently here and there. And by the way, I'm looking at my face. I had to put all this makeup on today because we did a photo shoot. So I'm usually not this glammed up, but I didn't just do it for Dean, get all glammed up. I got my fake eyelashes on today. Anyway, so it's $2,000 a month to $2,500, depending on the town that you live in. And it's 5% of the deal. So if you sell a $500,000 home, 3% commissions, 15 grand, they're going to get 5% of that. So 10% is what, 1,500, they get half of that. So if they do that multiple times, they're going to get pretty good bonuses.
Adolfo asked a follow-up question. At what point in your career is getting an ISA a good idea?
ASAP. No.
So now would you, I have a follow-up question to all this.
Teach them, if you can teach them, right? So do not get an ISA if you do not, because you're avoiding doing the job, right? That it's not going to work, because how do you train the ISA if you can't teach them how to do it?
Right. And let's just be clear, guys. Tina also is coming from a place of she was doing 10 listings a month prior to entering and hiring an ISA, right?
And so talking to 50 people a day. And
exactly. Like you were doing the thing in order to then attract, right? It's not like that you're not. So I don't want to, I don't want people to think like, oh yeah, when they listen, a lot of people are gonna listen to this recording and they're gonna be like, oh, well, all we talked about is leverage and ISAs. Well, why should I be on the phone? Or why should I be prospecting anyway? Well, the point is, no, we're hearing it from someone who actually, yes, okay.
I did it. I mean, in fact, my schedule was be at the office at 7:30, 7:30 to 8 was role play, 8 to 11 was on the phones, 11 to 12, check my email, 12 to 1, 1:30, go to lunch, and then appointments. And I did that for 4.5 years straight, burned myself out. But if I didn't show up at 7:30 with my 5 different role play partners, they cashed my check for $1,000. So it was high accountability to get your ass to work and make sure you were making your calls. I'm just saying, if you're right now a dean, because I know Dean has been in that seat for a long, long time, he's probably the perfect candidate to say, okay, I'm going to hire an ISA because I don't want to be in this seat forever. And I now have enough knowledge where I can help others grow. And to me, we're changing the narrative on our team. I was just showing our team, our agents are making 250, 300,000, 500,000, 600,000. They understand what leverage is. So I'm a team, Ridge. I'm a team that functions as a brokerage, because right now a party of 2 can be called a team, but we're like 60 people. That's a brokerage in every sense of the word. So at my brokerage, people have access to better opportunities. Therefore they make more money. So we're not just a team at 50-50 splits. We're a true, enhanced brokerage, if you will, a team.
Nice. And also, so Chris Nugent asked another follow-up question, but before Chris, we asked at the Tina really quick, just because I think this has come up, and Adolfo, we talked about, I talked about it with Danny as well, a few others here on the Phone Warriors, and which is that I think there's confusion about what the actual next hire should be. And so Tina, if you had a choice, you've been doing pretty well, you now have consistent income coming in. Okay. Are you like, in terms of like the coach, assistant, ISA, in that, like, what particular order would you then make your first hire, and how many deals and how much income are you looking at for you to, like, everyone's different, I guess, in different markets, but what is that? Let's just be clear about what the next actual hire really should be.
Okay. So if I start my career over, I just moved to North Carolina. I know how to prospect now. I've done the thing, right? I've done it 3-4 years. I'm ready. If I had a transaction coordinator, I could skip the assistant. So I could say $400 a deal, do my paperwork for me. So I could take that off my plate. I want to hire somebody that's going to make me money. A coach, we all know what a coach does. How many people on this call say yes if you have a coach? $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month. The coach holds you accountable. If you are an accountable person, like I was accountable. Yeah, I had a coach, but I would skip the coach if I knew how to generate, if I knew how to call expireds, FSBOs, my past clients, I knew how to call people and generate and hunt. The coach for me after a while lost its flair. Like I used to switch coaches like candy, because I'm like, no, hold me more accountable. So it was sort of like, once I understood how to hold myself accountable, the coach wasn't effective. And the coach wasn't really training me on the scripts and the dialogue. It was me training myself. It was being in mastermind. Mastermind groups train me. When we all get together, we talk about which script do you use? What do you say when they say this? How do you do? We teach each other, but the coach was there to move you along. So for me, it would be transaction coordinator, ISA, then coach, then real assistant, right? Like a true EA, because you can afford it now, because the ISA is pretty much paying for the coach and the EA. The ISA is a profit center. The ISA should be making you more money than you know what to do with. Once the ISA gets to more appointments than you know how to handle, that's when you start adding agents, because you can start giving the agents the buyer deals and saying, go do the buyer deals. I don't want the buyer deals. Then once you're done with, to me, it's like when your agent count, like for me, I know every agent on our team, if they sell 16 to 18 homes, makes the company net profit of $32,000 a year. At $32,000 times 10 agents, that's 320,000. 20 agents, that's $640,000. So it took me about 20 agents to replace my income, my net income of 700,000. So the math has to make sense. It's just math. You guys right now are chasing a $10,000 commission check. I'm chasing an agent and teaching them how to fish. There's two different, but my agent is going to go out and build a business and earn a living and grow, while not that I'm sitting on, crumpets all day and just like counting my money. I'm still working probably harder than I did, but in a different, more fun capacity. I'm having fun now. I don't have to, like today I was on a photo shoot all day and I'm doing this. I'm not like in the trenches answering calls anymore, like I did for 17 years in the trenches. So at some point, for some of you, it's going to be time to leverage and then say, okay, how do I want to monetize this? Most importantly, like, how do I make this thing make me money? Oh, I could coach, I could train, I could recruit. When you're an agent that's ready to build a team, you have to become a good recruiter, because without being a good recruiter, you're going to fail at building a team. People have to follow you. That means you have to recruit them. So I knew I had to become a good recruiter to build a team. Therefore, to me, the model that I'm in right now made sense, because I also have to recruit to that model. Now I have 2 teams. And then from there, I can leverage multiple streams of income based on, your likeness and how you grow in the community.
Yeah. And if someone like, whether it be Emily or anyone else on your team that wanted to go out on their own, now they have an opportunity to do that without getting the same financial opportunity and benefit that you have anyway. So
exactly. If Emily said to me, I'm going to go out and build a team tomorrow, I go do it. But she knows the P&L. She knows exactly how to do it now. But I'm not afraid of her going and doing it. If that's what her heart desires and she wants to go build a team, go build it. She knows exactly how to do it. She's doing it a little bit smarter and building a team by partnering with agents and not having the overhead and the drama that comes with building a team, because she also sees the back end. But it depends. I have options now as a team leader. I'm not afraid of an agent leaving. I'm not afraid of an agent joining me and stealing my Mike Ferry scripts, because they're not my competition. They're my partners now. And so I'm in a different vehicle that allows my partners to be free and not like afraid of them leaving with my scripts.
And so Jeff Peterson asked, how much time a day would you then typically use to train them? I'm assuming, Jeff, you're asking in the beginning phase of you hiring like maybe your first one.
Your ISA.
Right? So
literally they're sitting right next to you. They are listening to you.
Yeah.
And you're role playing with them. So you're role playing with those ISAs because you want them to be great.
And then I guess the last question for here today, Jason asked about any suggestions for smaller streams of income like stock dividends.
That is way above my head, Jason. I'm not that smart. So I keep it simple, buddy. I don't even know. I mean, literally, I was like, my financial planner was like, do you want to be aggressive, medium, or I'm like aggressive. I was like 32 years old. And I was like, whatever, aggressive. So they're in bigger funds. That's a question for you, Dean. Like, you know more about the stock market than I do.
I mean, that's a whole nother freaking session right there.
Whole nother session. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my thing is just start. Like when you think about multiple streams of income, that grew. Like our son, we saved $500 a month for college for him since he was 3 years old. While he's going off to college, literally next week, we have $90,000 that just appeared. And you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Looking back, I wish I would have bought a house, spend if I would have bought a house put $30,000 down and bought a $110,000 condo, that condo would be worth about $325,000 today. And I would have invested 30 grand. And in 18 years, think about, my child would have had a $300,000 gain versus 80, 90 grand to pay for his college. So if anyone just had a baby, go buy a house and hold it for 18 years and then sell it so your kid can go to college.
That's exactly. It's so funny you say that, Tina, because Jason, what I did for all 3 daughters is each of them will have a syndication and a house. If there's anything you guys will take from this call about the whole stock market and everything, it's a lot of fugazi.
Yes, okay? It is.
And so houses are real. Real estate's real, hence real estate. I mean, you could see it, touch it, but these guys on Wall Street, they're I've seen some shit in my day. Anyway, on a positive note, real estate's where it's at. Buy a house for your kids. I completely agree. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I mean, just buy it now. Because how many of us on this call have had 30, 40, $60,000 in our fingertips? And then we go out and do something stupid and we go on a vacation or buy a really nice car. And you're like, man, you could have literally bought a house. Getting rich to me was not sexy, but it was really profitable. And it's like, it's so boring to think about buying a rental property. It just is. It's not that exciting. To me, it is now. And now I'm like, what else can we buy? But start now. Like that's the key. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about the exact little piece of cash flow. Somebody else is literally paying off your mortgage while you're just using your great credit to put them in that house. So, well, I mean, really the point of this was not to like, make everybody run out and get an ISA. Like you have to be ready for that. I'm more than happy to, chat with whoever, if they're like, I think I might be ready. You have to be ready. You have to be at the right position, but know that that can be a North Star for you. You could say, I might be ready in a year or 2 years, but at least have a plan, right? Get an ISA and get a house. That's right, Jeff.
Wait, Jeff. Sorry, Tina.
Go ahead.
Jeff did ask a question. I have to, he wants me to say this.
Okay.
So how do we help hold Dean accountable to hiring an ISA, then reporting results in 6 months from now?
We all on this call get him to agree. Dean, do you think it's a good idea to hire an ISA?
Yeah.
Or you could just be the ISA. It's fine. Either way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. Yes.
Mike Ferry would be so mad at me saying that. But think about it. Mike Ferry's training is the foundation. It is what we all need to master. Now that once you've mastered the foundation of the Mike Ferry training, which again is literally everything I have here is Mike. I mean, I've never gone away from training. It's what you teach. You earned it. You paid Mike. I paid Mike all those years. I paid over $300,000 for that education, my college education. And now I get to leverage it. Now I'm saying, okay, now Mike, I need to grow. I need to leverage and not just be in the weeds every day. So I can, have a life. That's always nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome, guys. Now go out there and make some calls.